Hello everyone, this is Shadow News, and today I want to talk about some news from Israel, which I happen to be kind of an eyewitness for. When I opened this channel, I wasn't really going to talk about the news so much, I was just going to talk about some political topics, and I was going to discuss some conflicting news reports, because it is kind of interesting, because oftentimes there are contradictory statements and you don't really know who to believe, and all kinds of conspiracy theories, and it's kind of a mess. And so I thought about making a few videos talking about specific events and what I think by my own logic, by analyzing all the conflicting information, to kind of decide what I believe and to share my opinion. But I wasn't going to be talking about direct news reports as they happen or something like that. But since today I happen to see something, so why not share it? And I will be careful with specifics because, I don't want to be accused of espionage, and so I won't be saying specific things like recently I saw Iron Dome stationed somewhere near my home, and so I won't say exactly where that was. So I won't be saying everything I know, but kind of the general picture I will be discussing it. I live in the north of Israel, by the way, and my window is right into the direction of Syria. So a lot of times when we hear about all those attacks in Syria, I actually hear the planes. I mean, I hear the planes and then I hear about the attack. But usually they were very far in the distance. I could still hear them, but not really close to me. But today it was different. Today I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard a very, very loud noise of airplanes flying really low, really over my head. And the house was kind of shaking from it even, so it was kind of scary with the first few moments when you don't know what's going on. And I did hear about potential war, potential Iranian attacks and stuff like that. So suddenly to wake up and to hear a lot of airplanes flying really low, doing maneuvers right above you, that is kind of tenseful. So immediately the first thing I did was go to my security room. I don't know if you know what that is. Each apartment in Israel, at least each new apartment, has a room which is more hermetically sealed and thicker walls, concrete walls, and we have a special window which is like with a metal shield and stuff. So immediately I went and prepared that room. Then I turned on the news and I heard there was an Iranian attack of 20 missiles toward Israel, and Israel supposedly is retaliating. So I could see with my own eyes the airplanes flying really, really low and in an unusual place. Usually I think they go from Lebanon. I guess they first fly over the sea, then through Lebanon, and then to Syria. But now it seems like they're flying directly to Syria, maybe because it was they had to react fast, I guess. And I guess they were flying really low as not to be detected by a radar, because, as you know, Syria does have some anti-air defenses, and recently they did down a few of our airplanes, at least one recently, I think, and so maybe that's why they were flying so low as not to get hit. Maybe they were worried that was all a planned trap to hit some airplanes, and so really, really low, really close by above my head. A lot of people talked about that also today. And also later on, when I looked out the window, I could actually see flashes of light, which I think they were those flares that the airplanes send, also not to get hit. They send all kinds of heat signatures around them, and so I could see stuff like that. It's not the first time I saw that. So I guess the reason is simply to secure the aircraft. Now, our news say that no Iranian missiles actually hit because Iron Dome destroyed them all in the sky, and then Israel retaliated against the Iranian targets in Syria. So that's basically what I've seen. So I can confirm you that all these stories are not just stories. I actually see them happening a lot of times. But this time, waking up to airplanes right above your head was not so pleasant. And of course, I didn't go to sleep right away because I wanted to hear the news, and so I almost didn't sleep today. And so it's not pleasant. Now, as for what I think about the actual situation, well, that's a very long story. A lot of people online I see blame Israel. They say Israel is the aggressor. Well, I can see kind of the point of that because, all the time only Israel is attacking and the other side is too weak to actually accomplish anything. So it looks as if only we are attacking them. But if you go back and you look at the bigger picture of what is actually happening, what do you think? Israel just attacks Iranian outpost just for fun, or do you think because they are dangerous to Israel? So of course there is a reason. You don't see Israel attacking Jordan or Egypt or any of the friendly countries because they don't try to attack us, so there is no reason for us to attack them. As for Iran, Israel never started the beef with Iran in the first place. Iran is the one who started all of it. Iran is the aggressor against Israel, and it's mostly for ideological reasons, simply because of the religion. They hate Israel. even at the time when Israel was very close to negotiating a final deal with the Palestinians, when Olmert was the prime minister, it was very close to actually reaching a solution. And then Iran said they won't recognize such a solution. They said that the Palestinians do not have the authority to give away parts of Jerusalem which belong to Islam, to all Muslims, and so on. So they were always against any peaceful solution. And I talked about that in previous videos. I said I'm in favor of a peace solution, two-state solution, probably the best way. And so I'm very in favor of all of that. But with Iran, I don't see there can be a solution as long as they hold that radical ideology, wanting to destroy all of Israel and being against Israel no matter what, simply because it's Jews and not Muslims and so on. So I can't see any way to negotiate with Iran. And you know, Israel never had a problem with the people of Iran. Actually, Israel and Iran were very close friends before the Islamic Revolution, before this current regime rose to power, which is a radical Islamic regime, which hates Israel. And they've been proxy attacking Israel for decades. They committed terror attacks against Jewish targets abroad, against Jews who are not even Israelis, who have nothing to do with Israel. They attacked them to punish Israel for something. So that's kind of racist, and the terror attack against innocent civilians who have nothing to do with the country even. And they've been funding Hezbollah, Hamas, all the terror groups which are attacking Israel. They've been behind all of it. They've been supplying all the weapons and so on. And now they are building a force inside Syria with the stated goal of simply attacking Israel. They are setting up rockets and stuff which is only aimed at Israel. There are no other targets on which they fire these rockets. And they've stated publicly they want to destroy Israel. And so what would you do in such a situation? If some hostile country to you was putting missiles next to your border, would you really wait for them to actually fire them before you take them out, or would you take measures before they do that? And so I don't really think Israel is the aggressor in the bigger picture. If you look at all the history and all what's going on all around us, it's not as if Israel is starting this fight just for fun. So it's because Iran is planning to do something to Israel. And a few weeks ago, they tried to launch an armed drone into Israel. And then yesterday, well, 2 days ago, they tried, Israel says they set up missiles. They took them out of storage to actually fire them in Israel. And then Israel took them out. And of course, in the world media, you don't see all these details. You don't hear all these details. You only hear Israel attacks in Syria, Israel attacking something in Syria, and so on. And you don't actually know what exactly is going on. I'm not claiming that I know exactly what's going on, but usually I think the Israeli media is actually pretty accurate and not really controlled by the government. Actually, our media is very critical of our government. And also Israel is a very small country, and so not a lot of secrets here. So anything gets leaked out, basically. So I don't believe in all these conspiracy theories that all the media is lying and so on. And not in Israel, at least. I can tell you from personal experience, because I've seen stuff that has been on the media, and so it's not made up claims. And also the army usually tells the truth here, because it's the people's army. Everybody goes to do some reserve duty and so on. So the people in the army are the same people as the regular people, and so usually a lot of stuff gets leaked out, and so the army usually doesn't lie. When they don't want to reveal something, they simply don't say it, but they don't deny it, they don't directly lie usually. And so I do tend to believe the army, the Israeli army, when they say something. So if they say that they were going to shoot at us and then we shot at them first, then I do tend to believe that. Because otherwise, if it's not true, then all the soldiers that were there will say, they will leak it out. So it's very hard to keep a secret nowadays with the internet and so on, and the regular people being in the army. So I do tend to believe our army and our media. So that's my story, that's what I woke up to, and maybe I'll make more videos on this. I don't actually see a lot of Israelis making videos on YouTube, in English at least. Almost none. I only see either official news reports, or I see all kinds of religious guys making videos, and usually they're not really, well, I don't want to offend them, but they're not really objective, they're not really clear-minded, I would say, because they always talk about, prophecies, Bible prophecies, and they seem to kind of exaggerate everything to try to fit it with the prophecies. And they kind of almost happy about the war and stuff like that. So I don't really trust those people who talk about the Bible and stuff like that. So that's not what I'm going to do, and I'm actually going to debunk some of that stuff that I've seen. So that's basically the only guys I see talking about Israel on YouTube. I mean individual guys, not networks. So I only see all these religious guys, mostly Christians, who talk about prophecies and kind of exaggerating everything, and they are mostly on the side of Israel, I think, because of all those prophecies, which I guess is good for my country, but is that really honest? Is that really objective? I don't think so. As an Israeli, I say, it doesn't look objective, and maybe it's not even a good thing, even for propaganda, because other more rational people will say, oh, I only say that because they're religious and so on. That's not really news reporting. That's not really objective analysis. And so I personally am not believer, and so I don't believe in all that stuff, even though some of it is interesting, and I kind of like some of that stuff sometimes, but mostly I want to deal with actual facts and actual events, and to try to analyze them logically. And in this political arena, there's always, there is, it's not a black and white. Sometimes there is a grayness to it. There is a complexity, both sides are right on some points, maybe sometimes. And so that's why I find this a very interesting topic to debate, because it's not a clear-cut case. A lot of times there are points of views about the same event, which you can look at it differently depending on how you look at it, and sometimes the truth is somewhere in the middle, meaning both sides are exaggerating things to their own advantage, to their own point of view, and so they kind of pick and choose what to report on. But if you listen to both sides, you can kind of get the real picture somewhere in the middle. So that's the situation most times. It's not a black and white situation, but I do think in some situations there is one truth. So some specific event, each side is saying something totally opposite of the other. I do think one is lying and the one is telling the truth. It can't be both at the same time. And so those were all topics I kind of want to talk about, to try to figure out with my own logic what is true. And I am an Israeli, so I may be slightly biased to the Israeli side, and because I care about my own safety, my own prosperity, obviously. So I might not be totally objective, but I will try to be. I promise I will try to look at it from all points of view and to really analyze it objectively and honestly. So that's what I'm going to do on this channel. Once in a while, probably not a lot, because YouTube is kind of censoring channels like that, I guess. So maybe it's not a good idea to invest too much time on this. But if I see something which I really want to talk about, then I will make a video on this. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe, please like, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.